Okie dokie. Hopefully everyone here can hear me. My name's Kai, and we're about to start this fantastic, good times, fun webinar here. We're going to be introducing basically the Character Creator 3 pipeline into game engines. I'm going to be taking a character from Daz and kind of modifying her a little bit, showing you how to export from Daz in a certain way to avoid some issues when you're importing into Character Creator 3. And we're also going to be exporting into, I guess if we have time, we'll export into both Unity and Unreal. I'm going to be focusing more on Unity since we're coming out with a couple of tutorials here in the very near future on how to import into Unity. Very easy, and we've done a lot of the groundwork for you. So no more messing around with textures and all that stuff. It's a really easy, basically single import into Unity. And I'll show you the Unreal project later too if we got some time. Okay, so the basics. What we're going to do here is we're going to be doing a demo here, I guess, for a couple, like 50 minutes or so. We're going to be doing the live demo. I'm going to be showing you the pipeline I just mentioned. And then at the end, we're going to have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions throughout this webinar, make sure you put those in the Q&A section of your Zoom panel, okay? The Q&A section. I'm not going to be answering questions from the chat window. I'll be answering the Q&A window at the very end of the webinar. But you can, I may put some links in the chat window as we move along here. Just some useful links that we may come across. And also we have my friend Apple here, who is a Reillusion webinar, and will answer some of the questions if you have during the webinar in the chat window. But all the questions I'm going to answer are going to be put in the Q&A panel there. All right, so just keep that in mind. And we are recording this, so if you have any questions, or if I go too fast at any point throughout the webinar, we're going to be sending you a link you can view on your own time, at your own leisure. We're also broadcasting this, I believe, live on Facebook and on YouTube. So hello and welcome to those of you who are catching the broadcast via one of those formats. And yeah, I think that's about it. We're also going to be sending out a survey at the end of this webinar. Okay, so if you have any feedback, any suggestions for future webinars, anything you'd like to know, make sure you fill out that survey, and we'll give you a 10% discount from the content store, coupon for 10%. And this stacks on top of all the other current discounts that we have going on right now. We've got some really good holiday discounts going on in the content store. So if you ever wanted to pick up some stuff from the content store, make sure you check it out now. We got some really good specials on as well. Okay, so I think that about does it for the introduction. I'm Kai, in case I didn't mention that. I do a lot of the tutorials. You may recognize my voice. What we're going to talk about is, first of all, getting a Daz character into Character Creator 3, because I know we have a lot of Daz users that have come over to Character Creator and iClone and are curious about the pipeline. We do have a lot of tutorials online on our YouTube channel that we've just recently released about Daz. Here's a good link I'm going to put in the chat window for you guys here. The Learning Center, because it seems like a lot of people aren't aware of the Learning Center for Character Creator. So from the main page, you can just go up here to this little line thingy up here. Go to 3D animation and go to Character Creator. Basically, every one of our product pages will have a learning center, and there's the big discount you can get on the content store. So if we go to Learn and Support over here, Learn, there's a section for tutorials. Okay, so in case you weren't aware of this section here, we have okay, so the Unity one's just been launched here. Okay, so this is the Unity one. Couple of 3 different tutorials that go into Unity, so you can follow these 3 tutorials. They all discuss different topics, and we have a number of different Daz ones here as well. So Daz and Poser down here. So any issues you may have importing your character in from Daz, please check them out on this page. So I'll put this in the chat window in case anyone wants to take a look at it. There we go. Make sure it's going to all attendees. And okay, let's continue. Let's go into Daz. So the first thing we're going to do is make our Daz character really quickly here, okay? So let's go to our smart content. Whoops. Make sure it's up there. And go to figures. And I'm going to load in a page who is made from a Genesis 8 base, okay? So we have the ability to import in any sort of Daz Genesis character or Daz, Michael, M4, V4, Victoria 4. Basically, any of the standard Daz characters we're able to import with no problem directly into Character Creator 3, and I'll show you that momentarily as we move along here. Oh, this is the final project here, by the way, in Unity, while that's loading in Daz. I can go ahead and play it for you. You'll see our character just kind of chatting away. Okay, so this is facial morphs as well. Not sure why my mouse is not moving. What's going on here? All right, well, you can see our chatting away anyways there. Might be an interference with Zoom. All right, anyways, we'll close down Unity for now. It doesn't really take a lot of effort to load up Unity, just a minute or so. And there's our page character in Daz. Let's throw some clothes on her real quick. Let's go over here to wardrobe, and I'm just going to throw on these page outfit. Okay, make sure the character is selected. We're going to throw the page outfit on top of her, and that'll bring us to our first issue. But first, let's get the hair in there as well. So hair and page braids. All right, just give her some page braids, and there we go. Okay, so this brings us to the first issue that you may come across when you're exporting Daz characters, which will be sometimes when you throw clothing onto your character. In this case, it's the shoes. What will happen is Daz will automatically hide the mesh of your actual character's base, skin base, okay? So if I twirl this down here, let's take a look at what our feet look like without the shoes on. Okay, you can see we currently have them. And the reason for this is because I've actually messed around with the actual DUF file when these shoes are applied. Okay, so what we need to do is find those shoes, and we're going to go to wardrobe here. Where are they here? It should be under page shoes or sneakers. There we go. Okay, so just right click on that and browse to file location, and you'll find your page sneakers right there. Now, one important thing is you'll have to go back into the Daz content folder here and just type in page. Okay, just search for page sneakers. Hurry up. There we go. All right, so in this Daz content folder, whoops, back. All right, make sure we're in the right folder here. All right, so there's a separate folder. There should be a separate folder for page sneakers. So I'm just going to type in sneakers here. Maybe I'll make it a bit more specific. All right, now there should be a specific folder for page sneakers. Maybe I'm in the wrong section here. Let's go into, oh, Daz content, and then I believe it's in data. Should be in here. There we go, page sneakers. This is the one I'm looking for. Okay, so now that's actually in the tutorial that I showed you earlier on the Learning Center page. But the one we're using right now, there's some DSF files here, and the ones I'm using right now, so whenever you import your shoes onto your character, it's going to refer to this file right here. Now I have the original file saved as a copy right now, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this original file here, okay? And we're just going to rename this one back to the original file, like this. And we're going to try and import in those shoes one more time. Okay, so I'm going to select the shoes. Oops, make sure they're selected here. Sneakers and delete. And let's try and reapply them and see what happens here. And then if we make it invisible, you'll see the feet are suddenly gone, okay? And you're like, holy cow, what happened to the feet? Well, that's because generally what you want to do is you want to modify that file that I showed you earlier. This one right here, this the data file for your individual item. Just right click on it and open it in like WordPad or Notepad++, whatever you have. Okay, and you need to Control F and search for a section of the code called graphed. Okay, and you'll see it right here. So we'll close that down. So you can see graphed, and this basically just tells us which polygons to hide and which to show and stuff when you're applying that item to your character. So what I want to do, I don't want it to have any effect on the poly count or the hidden account on my character. So I want to take all this, select this entire section here. It goes way, way down. It's probably easier to use Notepad++ since it's not limited by the columns there. all the way down to where it says extra, okay? And you want to just backspace and delete all that, okay? So you should have this close bracket, comma, and then extra in parentheses there, and then just go ahead and give her a save right there, okay? And once we do that, we should be good to go. So let's delete those sneakers and apply them one more time. And bam, there you go. Okay, so now the feet are showing underneath the sneakers, and that is what we want. Because when you import your character into Character Creator using the Transformer tool, you need to have your character's entire skin mesh intact, okay? Nothing can be hidden, otherwise it won't really recognize it as a Genesis 8 character in this case, or Michael 4 character, or whatever it is, okay? So keep in mind, ensure that you have your character's entire mesh shown or intact, okay? All right, so that's about it. The next thing we need to do is we need to apply a T-pose to our character. And this T-pose can be found in the Character Creator 3 template directory. So just go to Character Creator, just go to any folder, it doesn't really matter. We'll just go to our main projects folder, right-click on any item here, and select Find File. Okay, and that's going to open up your Explorer. Just go back to the CC3 template folder. Now, a little caveat here, probably none of your directory structures are going to be the same as mine, so don't follow my directory structure. I just put it in my D drive because I have one of those guys who has a very small solid state drive for my main drive, so I put everything else on the D drive here. Okay, anyway, so back into the template folder, Character Creator 3 template. You want to go into the Daz resource folder here, and you want to go into T-poses. And in T-poses, you will have a Genesis 8 female pose. Okay, so keep in mind, Paige is a Genesis 8 female character. So simply click on her and click on the T-pose rather, the DUF file, and import it onto our character in Daz, just like this. Okay, then she'll go into this T-pose here, and that's really all we have to do in Daz. Okay, so that's all the time we're going to spend in Daz. Go to File and export this FBX file. Okay, and we'll just export it as I already saved it as Page, so we'll just export it as Page 2, page 1 and Page 2. Okay, so launch that folder there and go ahead and save it. Now we do not want to embed the textures. We want to make sure that we have FBX 2011 binary selected, okay, and all these other settings right here should be okay, and just go ahead and accept that. That should take a couple seconds to export, and from that point on, we can bring it into Character Creator 3. Now, in this webinar, I'm not really going to waste time, getting all the original materials from Daz. Okay, it's a little bit of a more complex procedure. It takes some extra time, which I don't want to spend on that kind of stuff. I want to just basically import it in as a basic character, and I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. So we can close down Daz now. We don't need Daz any longer. Okay, and we'll close down the T-pose folder here, and then just go into Transformer. Okay, Transformer. So again, the Transformer will import any sort of Daz or poser character, and just import in Page 2. Okay, now here's what I was talking about earlier. If you choose Advanced, you can import in and you can bake your original Daz textures, okay? And it requires that you need to replace a couple of them a little bit later on. And again, you can follow through that on the one of these tutorials here. All these tutorials cover all that stuff. But if you use the basic method, okay, basic will just apply Character Creator 3 skin material to your character, okay, which I think is, oftentimes better anyways. Really depends on how detailed your Daz character's skin textures are, and if it has like some sort of unique sort of characteristics to it. We don't need to save this project. Okay, so again, we don't want to bake the body texture up here. Okay, that'll take a lot longer. The simplest way is just to do this way, and we just need to assign our sneakers as shoes. Okay, we don't have any sort of other accessories. The braids need to be classified as hair. Okay, we're going to remove them anyways later on. But the shirt and the dungarees are both cloth. All right, and press OK. Okay, so in just a moment here, our character should import in momentarily. And let's just double check this here. All right, and yeah, our character will be importing in just a sec here. With the basic mode, it doesn't take any time at all. It should take a few seconds here. And then once we import that character in, I'll talk about how to basically import in a separate OBJ, how to save your character first of all, and how to import in a cloth item as an OBJ and apply it to your character. Okay, so for those of you who are using like Marvelous Designer or something like that to create your own clothing, I'll show you how to import that stuff in really easily into Character Creator. All right, so here's our character in Character Creator 3, the Daz character. Pretty cool stuff, and she's all good to go pretty much. We can put her in like a number of different poses by going over here to poses. Just choose a female pose, look up like this. Hey, not bad. And you may encounter breakages in the mesh like this. All right, and I'll show you how to fix that a little bit later on. But for now, we're just going to focus on the character import. Okay, so let's go back to a regular T pose here. I'm going to get rid of that shirt anyways. All right, so yeah, there's our character all imported in. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to just apply a different some clothing to her. Okay, so I'm going to just select this clothing, this sweater here, because I really don't like this sweater. If you wanted to, you can adjust the materials on this sweater. You can go over here to like materials once the sweater is selected. Obviously, the resolution is not very high on this sweater. You can see really chunky materials and just a simple base color. So, I want something more detailed. But if I wanted to, I can go to the shirt material up here, for example, the shirt material name from the mesh. And I can just go down here and increase my tiling. Okay, make sure you affect all channels. Doesn't really matter in this case, but 5 and 5. And you can see we get much more detailed material, at least on that section of our character shirt. And then you would just go to the arms and do the same thing. So like arms and 5, 5. Unfortunately, with UV tiling, you can't do this all at once. Okay, so there you go. And so on and so forth. All right, so that's how you would, adjust the material on your character shirt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a separate shirt here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and save our character first. I'm going to delete this shirt, the whole thing. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this character. So let's go ahead and do that. If you want to save your character, very easy. Just go up to base here and go to, project. We're going to save the project here. And go to this one right here, which is character. And you want to go to custom. And it's custom, you can go to clothed. She's pretty clothed, I guess. Just go to plus. The plus button down here will allow you to save. So we'll just call her page 2. All right, there we go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go ahead and start a new project. And the reason for that is because I'm going to import in a separate OBJ file now as a clothing item. We're going to apply that to page. I'll show you that in just a moment. And that can be found if we go to Illusion Sketchfab, our Sketchfab page. Please follow us. We need more followers. Anyways, models right here. You can download this T-shirt for free. Okay, this is the one I'm going to apply to our character. So if you have this, shirt that you created, obviously the recommended pipeline is to take the default character from Character Creator 3 and export it, and then model your clothing on that character within your software, like Marvelous Designer, 3D Coat, ZBrush, whatever you have. Okay, so here's the beautiful, fancy white T-shirt. All right, and feel free to download that at your own leisure. Okay, we're going to close Explore. Oh, I'll put this in the chat window as well. Why not? All right, so you guys can download it right now if you want. There we go. And we'll close down, what's it called? Not Explore, Chrome. Close that down right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to import that into our character. Okay, so if I exported this character, I did my modeling in ZBrush or whatever, Marvelous Designer, then I saved it as an OBJ. Now I can import it back into my character. I go to Create up here and Cloth Hair Accessories. Okay, this item. I'm just going to select it. And the T-shirt, T-pose. All right, very recommended, highly recommended to model your clothing in a T-pose. Yeah, okay, so just select that OBJ file. Okay, so 3D object right there. Very simple T-shirt. It's going to import right onto our character. And there you go. Okay, nice and fancy. So what's going to happen here is we need to transfer the skin weights. That's the first thing we need to do, because if I pose my character right now in a separate, different pose, let's go to this female pose, like this enticing one, you'll see, boop, she'll just pop out of her shirt like that. Obviously not the result that we want. So we need to make sure that we transfer the skin weights to the shirt, okay? So back into the T-pose. Let's go click over here to our default T-pose. And we need to go up here to attributes, again, with the T-shirt selected. Again, go over here to transfer skin weights, okay? And now here, we're gonna just detect which sort of item it is. Generally, default will do the best job. So just select default and go apply, okay? If you have any questions about the other templates, feel free to ask me. And so that's all done. We can actually just remove this bra thing underneath here. I'm just gonna delete that, just kind of poking through. We can modify it as well if we want, but I'll show you how to do that later. Okay, so there's the shirt, all set on our character. Now, if we apply another pose to our character, the enticing pose, it will conform to our character's body nicely, okay? So that's a really easy example of transferring skin weights. You can also do that manually as well. We have some tutorials coming out on that really quickly here, I think later this week, on transferring or on editing skin weights manually. Okay, this is the easy and fast way to do it. So there we go, put our character back into the default T-pose, and then we'll save our T-shirt as a custom shirt. So to do that, we need to go over here to cloth and go to custom. And make sure we have T-shirt selected right here, shirts rather. And it's a good idea to kind of like zoom in on the shirt, whatever it is, okay? And this is the one I saved earlier. I'm just gonna select it here. And we're gonna press the plus button, okay? You can see the thumbnail is quite different from the previous one. We'll call this awesome white shirt. Okay, there we go. And then we're gonna just go ahead and load in page again. So let's go to projects, characters, custom. Where is she? She was in clothes. Yeah, okay, there we go. And throw in page. Let's just load the avatar. We don't need to save the current project. And there she is. Okay, so I mean, I can apply that shirt really easily to page. Now, the important thing to notice here is if we go to that shirt and apply it to our character, we need to make sure that the layers are correct. Okay, so it'll apply over top of our dungarees, which is probably not the way we want it. I mean, it could be, but you probably want your T-shirt underneath your dungarees, I imagine. So in order to adjust the layers, we need to go up here to modify and cloth layer settings. Okay, and you'll see here the T-shirt is at level 3, while the dungarees are only at level 1. So level 1 is actually the closest level to your body, so it's reserved for like underwear and stuff like that. So the T-shirt is actually positioned above, a layer above the dungarees. Okay, so we need to change that. Let's go to the dungarees here and click on this little settings icon here. We'll change the order to like, I don't know, something like 6. Doesn't really matter as long as it's above 3. If you only have 3 items on your character, it's not a big deal. So do that, and then just go ahead and select Run Collision. So Run Collision is going to take a second here, and it's going to just basically modify it so that the shirt is going to be positioned underneath the dungarees, and there'll still be a little bit of breakage through on the mesh because obviously it's not going to be perfect. So what we can do after it finishes processing that is we'll be able to auto hide the mesh, okay, for the shirt. Okay, so you see that basically it tried its best to get the shirt underneath the dungarees, okay? And obviously we want to change that. So what we want to do here is auto hide the mesh. You can see it kind of pokes out on the back there in a really weird way, and that's going to create a mesh issue for us. So we're going to have to fix that a little bit later on. Okay, so auto hide the mesh is the easiest way to do that, and we want to auto hide the mesh for the T-shirt. So let's just select the T-shirt and auto hide the mesh. And it's going to remove most of that white stuff, but we'll still have to do some editing on top of that. And I'll show you that in just a moment once we finish auto hiding the mesh. And yeah, edit mesh is, you know, can be a little bit of a dull thing to do sometimes, but you know, it's very useful and very important part of modifying your character. All right, so a lot of problems here. Okay, so we got problems on the back. the auto hide mesh didn't really do an ideal job here. All right, so what we'll have to do is do some manual mesh editing with the t-shirt. Okay, so I'm going to select the t-shirt. Let's actually just remove the braids. We'll give her some different hair, just so that hair doesn't get in the way on the back there, and delete the hair. And we're going to replace it with some cool hair. Let's go over here to our hair template folder. Conforming Hair Volume 1. This is a content pack you have to purchase, by the way. Highly recommended. I think it's like not too much. I forget how much it is, but highly recommended because you get some really cool hairstyles, like this Agent Scully A-line bob here, which is one I always like to use. Okay, let's take a look at our character's mesh on the back here. Okay, so select our shirt, and we're going to go here to Edit Mesh. Okay, so Edit Mesh. What you want to do is you can select faces here, and I'm going to select all of these faces up here. And you have the visible, you can make them show, okay, like this, show, like this, show. You want to show all that stuff, and I think there was a couple up here that didn't show, or that were mistakenly not shown. So select all this stuff and show. Again, you can select show all and hide as well if you want to hide particular faces. Like probably these ones here, I'd probably want to hide these ones. Let's go to hide. Well, maybe not. You want to show these ones here. Okay, so again, it's just tricky sometimes. Anyways, okay, so it looks like not tremendous right now. The first thing I like to do, the first step I like to do is the lazy man step, which is go over here to Conform, and we're going to actually edit the mesh on the dungarees now. Okay, so I'm going to select the dungarees, overalls, I believe we call them in North America, and go to Conform here. Okay. So Conform, I mean, you can calculate the collision in general. This won't do a lot if you've already just done the auto hide mesh and stuff. So what I like to do is increase size. This is a super lazy and easy way to do it, like 28 or something. And you see that, takes care of a lot of our issues right there. Okay. Not all of it, but that takes care of a lot of it. Throw it more like that. Again, you don't want to have it too high. Okay. Generally 0.2 is like, 0.5 is what you'd want to keep it at. All right, and that's the basic start that I normally use, okay? And the next thing I would do is get out of Conform here and go back to Edit Mesh, and we're going to just choose Sculpting, okay? I find sculpting is pretty easy. Now there's 3 methods of sculpting. You can push the mesh in further, you can pull the mesh out, which is this one right here, or you can smooth the mesh. So let's start by pulling out the mesh that we want to come out, like this one right here, okay, like that. Along this section here, we want it to come out. Okay, we want to pull so again, what we're doing here is we're pulling the overall, or the dungaree mesh out more. Okay, that's probably a bit too much. You don't have to look too frumpy there. You have to keep the natural kind of curvature, at least as much as you can. And it's often a good idea to keep the radius a little higher or lower. You want to focus in a certain area, just like this. Okay. Just like this. Okay. I can probably even like, push that shirt mesh in there a little bit as well. I think it's a little bit too far out. Not far out in a good way, dude. All right, so we'll just kind of leave it like this. Pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it. And try and get a basic shape so we can smooth it out, okay? Just like this. All right. There we go. All right, this is looking really ugly, but we're going to smooth it out anyway. So yeah, smoothing it out just like this. Okay. Let's do it on this side here. Oops, that was a little too strong. I have the strength way too high. I mean, so we can go back and forth with this. I think this is like the worst version I've ever had of this. So I may want to actually just even replace my shirt on the bottom here. Yeah, well, parts like this on the bottom here, for example, you want to definitely smooth these ones out, like strength like this frumpy part. Just smooth it out like this. Okay. And we don't want her to have a pointy butt like that, so let's smooth the butt out a little bit. Okay, and this part here as well. I don't want to spend too much time on editing the mesh because we got other stuff to take care of. But you get my point here. And this part in the front needs to be kind of smoothed out as well. Yeah, it's smoothing out nicely. Unfortunately, the back is just a big pile of crap here. Let's maybe decrease the radius here and bring it out just in this area. If this doesn't work, well, we have a less than ideal mesh. Looks like it's doing okay there. I guess I just have to use a smaller radius. Stop being so lazy and using a large radius. All right. There you go. Not bad. And apologies for the crappy looking mesh here. I'm not even sure which is the original mesh anymore. So we want to smooth it out again on the edges there. Just make sure it's, you know, not too lumpy. It is right here. Oh, this is always fun stuff. I love mesh editing. All right, anyways, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of work with kind of what we have here. I don't want to make it too intense. Make it at least a little bit presentable. Okay. And put this out here. There we go. All right. Now, if we had more time, we could probably, you know, do this a little bit better, but I don't want to waste anyone's time here just watching me edit the mesh forever. So let's try and make it as smooth as possible. If any of you are familiar with sculpting, you know, you have to go back and forth quite often there. Just try and make it as smooth as you can. It's being stubborn. Oh, well, okay. We will work with that. And this little area here needs to be, the shirt needs to be shown here as well. So make sure we select the shirt, that mesh, faces, and show. There we go. Oh, great. And if we push this one back in, there we go, we can push it beneath the, where it's supposed to be, back down where it's supposed to be. Get down there. All right. Enough with the mesh editing. I think we're good. We're good enough with that. It looks okay on the back. Probably smooth that out a bit, but I'm not going to waste much more time on that. Okay, so that's about it for editing mesh. Okay, looks good from a distance. Okay, there we go. So from this point on, what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of things onto our character. You know, we can throw a different shirt on the character if we want. Let's I'll go ahead and quickly show you how to do that. Like this shirt right here. I like this sleeves top, the way this one fits on our character. Just like this, maybe this will have a better result than our one we just did. Here. Yeah, just like that. And if you want to, you can hide the sleeves top. This one right here. That's what it would look like. You know, not bad. And of course, you'd have to do the hide hidden mesh again and stuff like that. But I'll stick with our original one. That was the original plan. So we'll just delete this 3/4 sleeves top there. I'm going to go through that process again. She's going to have a clean, plain white shirt. Okay, so from this point on, we've done the sculpting, we've done the editing the mesh. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of accessories to our character, like these glasses really quickly. Okay, so I'm going to select accessories and go over here to head. Hottest hairstyles, no, not this one. For torso, under the Oh, we don't have the party fun pack on this one. All right, so what we're going to do is just throw in some whatever glasses. We only have the assassins one. That's no fun. All right, maybe these sunglasses we'll just throw in there. They're going to look pretty crappy, but you can always resize them and modify them. All right. Not as cool as the ones I had in mind, but here you go. You can select the glasses just like this. And if you want, you can resize them. I'll just resize. Oh, why is it down there? Weird. Okay. Seems like the pivot point is down there for some reason, but you want to go over here. If you ever find that occurring on your character, the pivot point is somewhere else, just go over here to your attributes under pivot and select the middle pivot point right here. Okay. And that may be because it's a Daz imported character. And there you go. We'll just give her some, you know, I think those large glasses are fashionable these days, aren't they? Oversized glasses. And we'll throw that in there. Okay, looks okay. And then maybe these materials here, the lenses. You can see the lens right here. We can probably adjust the color of these lenses if we want by going here to adjust color. Looks like they're pretty brown, pretty boring. Let's change the saturation a little bit. Pump up that saturation. And then maybe adjust the hue a little bit. Two different color. You can see they're set to PBR, the lenses, okay? So you can see now I can set the hue to kind of like a purple hue, just like that. You can kind of see the purple hue on the glasses right there. Pretty cool stuff. All right, and we'll just keep that the way it is. So we need to resize them a bit more on the sides. There you go. All right, we're gonna work with that. And we're gonna import in our character just like this, okay? So I think from this point on, I mean, we can do things like modify the morphs as well on our character. Once we've finished all this, we can go to over here to our morphs. And if we select like full body, for example, we can choose a number of different body types. We can just use the sliders here. Again, you can find a lot of these morph sliders on the content store. I'll just type in like a heavy. You can type in the search field up here, and you can make your character heavy just like this, okay? You can see the clothing will conform nicely to your character's body. Okay, just like this. All right, and obviously that mesh would probably need to be smoothed out a little bit, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just take the heavy back down, and we'll use maybe a different body slider. There's stuff like all sorts of stuff here. I have too many of them. Fitness one, have your character maybe bulk up a little bit. Okay, you can use a thin slider. Make your character even thinner than before. There's body tone, all right? All sorts of different sliders. You can also do modify the face as well. So the morphs for the face. You don't have to use the sliders over here. You can actually even use the, I'm gonna hide the glasses here for a sec. Go to the scene manager and just hide these glasses. So if you have this morph toggle gizmo toggled on, you can click that. And then you'll see a yellow kind of highlight whenever you mouse over your character like this. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could, you know, make my character's lips thicker by clicking and dragging on that slider. Okay, just like this. Okay, if I want to have really thin lips, I can make those really thin. And we can change the size of the nose as well if we want. So the nose larger like that. And take the chin down, you know, basically do modify any part of the character's face. There's a bunch of eye stuff in here as well. If we type in eye, go to the head section, type in eye, we can, you know, make a more downturned eye like this. You can notice a very slight change in our character's outside of the eyes. More of a slit eye, like a closed eye like this, okay? There's all sorts of eye stuff. I think there's an eye round one as well. Let's type in round. Here's eye round. Okay, so you can make your character's eyes even rounder. And you can also use negative values here as well. If I typed in like -100, okay, it'll basically be like using this like the slit eye kind of thing. -500, for example, will be like that. So That's obviously a little bit too extreme because it's morphing, or it's kind of creating some mesh issues there. So I just need to leave it at 100, for example. And here's a face round. Have our character's face look rounder as well. And I think there's an old one as well I like to use. Face young. Yeah, this one is, I think, part of our Character Creator Essentials pack, which I'd highly recommend picking up. You can make your character's face look younger. This character's face already looks too young though, so it doesn't really work as well on stylized characters like this one. Okay, that's all the morphs. Lots of skin stuff you can do as well, but with the current Character Creator 3, we don't have the substance set up for Character Creator 3 characters yet. It's coming in the near future here, so I won't do any skin modification. But if you want, you can go to the Content Manager. There's a bunch of different skin templates here, right here. One that I would highly recommend is picking up the what's it called? Elite Characters pack, I believe. I'll show you this one here. Yeah, I already have it saved here. This is a super good pack because it contains a whole bunch of high-resolution 4K skin textures that you can simply apply to your character. You can see all the cool different styles that you can make with all the different clothing and stuff. All right, and these are different skin templates and hair templates and whatnot, all included in this pack. I'd highly recommend it. Here's the high-resolution PBR textures and stuff. There's eyes that are optimized for lighting with like IRay renders and stuff. All right, I'll throw this in the chat window there as well. Zoop. There we go. And close that down. Okay, so you can apply that skin texture to your character. It's really detailed. Maybe I'll just try that anyways. You know, it's going to be a high resolution texture, but these ones right here, CC3 RTL. Okay, so there's different ones for different characters. We can probably make her skin a little bit darker. Let's give that a shot. Just apply this CC3 RTL skin. And this is just going to replace the character's face with, or the skin with this skin texture template. Okay, there you go. Pretty cool. And there's also the CC3 eyes that I mentioned before. So if you go to your figure and eyes over here, there are these CC3 RTL eyes. Okay, so these are very detailed eyes. We can give her like a, you know, maybe these sort of hazel looking eyes. I think these ones are kind of cool looking. There you go. Okay, so pretty cool stuff, right? Totally just changed the ethnicity in a couple seconds there. All right, so we'll go ahead and export the character like this. I think that's all we need to do. Facial morphs, custom pose. I'll do a quick IRay render for you there. So let's go to our poses here, and let's just choose a female pose. Actually, we'll choose a supermodel pose. Since these are a separate content pack, again, you can purchase if you want, but just a couple of poses in there, like this thinking pose, for example. You can see she's very, very deep in thought there. And we'll do a quick IRay render for you. So with IRay renders, I recommend picking up, if you're into IRay, going to stage elements over here, and under the atmosphere section, there's a light studio folder. Again, this is a separate purchase from the content store. It's really cool. A lot of different lighting templates that you can use on your character. Let's see, like cinematic ones are kind of interesting. I don't know, like this magenta one, for example. I think magenta is a pretty cool color. All right, so you can see the way it looks, and looks like she's kind of picking her nose there. If you want, you can adjust the pose as well by going over here to poses and edit pose. We can take her arm and press the E hotkey and just rotate it to the side. Maybe something like this, and you bring it down a bit, so it looks less like she's picking her nose and maybe more like she's looking at something surprised. And then if you want, you can also go over here to edit the facial features, okay? And you can choose default expressions here. We can give her like a sad, thoughtful look, like this one, okay? Stuff like this. Yeah, she looks genuinely confused here as to what I'm doing. All right, so once you're done that, just go ahead and click the preview button right here, and that'll give you an IRay preview. And after this, we have about 10 minutes where I'll just go into importing into Unity and Unreal, and I'll show you those projects once this one's finished. I guess we can probably load up Unity at this point here. While that is loading in the background. And I need to load up the Learning Center one more time, because there is a very special Unity script that you need to download. And character creator, learn. It should be in this video right here. Hey everyone! In this, so there's a script right here. This package, okay. So download this package. I'll share this to you guys in the chat window as well, in case you can't get to that right now. And yeah, the package is right here. You're going to want this definitely, okay? Trust me, because it makes your Unity import go from like 10 minutes to 2 seconds, basically. Okay, so Unity is loading up in the background. That's fine. Okay. All right, so there's our Unity, or sorry, not Unity, IRay render with the kind of cool magenta light reflecting off her eyeballs and stuff like that. And it'll just take, a couple minutes, and it'll look good. It already looks pretty good, but you can see the difference in results there when you get the photorealistic rendering and whatnot. Okay, we'll just get that at 350 maybe, and then we can save it. So in Unity, I have these two dudes. This is from a tutorial, the Unity tutorial that I just did. So I can just go ahead and play this, and you'll see actually how these guys are different here. Let's just go to our scene here. All right, so these are just two characters that I imported in from Character Creator 3 using different templates. This is the NPC right here. So this is a character with a lower resolution, and this is a character with the original resolution. So if you look closely at the faces, like this one right here, you can see very detailed texture on the face, like especially the normal maps and the pores on the skin and everything like that. You can stop looking from side to side. And then the guy on the right here, which is the NPC character, his is a little bit, less detailed, like this. Slightly less detailed. You can't see as much stubble and stuff. That's just an example of two different characters. And I'll show you how to import your page character in just a moment here. So let's actually delete this page folder right here, since we want to import it in from scratch again. Okay, so from Character Creator 3, what you want to do is, let's just go ahead and save this first. Render, okay, good name. And we'll go to File and export to FBX. Okay, since we're focusing on Unity 3D, we're going to choose the Unity 3D target tool preset up here. Okay, you can also choose Unreal, and I'll show you the Unreal project a little later if you want. You do not want to embed the textures. This is very important. Do not embed the textures, because the package script file that I showed you earlier, it's going to basically assume that you did not embed the textures. Okay. One thing you want to do is include motions. It's very important that the first item on your list is a T-pose. Okay. I recommend naming it 0_ T-pose. Okay. Make sure this is correct. Okay. Because when you import your character into Unity, it's going to automatically create a prefab with an animation script already, with an animation, what's it called? Engine. I'll figure it out later. But these are the two other animations here, okay? So Heidi Talk 1, LOD Motion 1, okay? You can put as many motions as you want in there. InstaLOD is what allows you to basically swap out your character's mesh for a less detailed mesh when you zoom the camera away from your character, because when you're 500 meters away from the character, obviously you don't need to see the skin pore details on the face. So we can replace that with a lower mesh a lower resolution mesh and textures, and you can save resources in your final project. But yeah, from that point on, you can go ahead and export. I've already exported it, thankfully. It just takes a couple minutes, but I don't want to make anyone wait here. So what you want to do is when you run that script, basically what's going to happen is it's going to create a folder called CC assets, okay, in your main assets folder. So when you run this script, you import the package rather, it's going to create a folder called CC assets. This is the most important one, okay? So you go into, double click into your CC assets folder, and I'm going to show you if I had exported it just now. Come on, webinar. Okay, so this is the page export for Unity. So what would have happened is if I exported with 3 levels of detail, okay, so we'll get a file. This is the original page Unity level of detail 0. This is the original file, okay, that we export from Character Creator 3. This one right here is basically slightly lower resolution on the skin texture, and the texture size has been reduced to 1024 from 4K, okay? And this one here, the texture size has been reduced to 1024, and the mesh level of detail is low. And it also merges all the textures on your character's body into one single texture map. So clothing and skin and everything like that, it merges it all into one single texture, right? Which saves a ton of resources. Okay, so what you would do is you would take this entire folder and you want to import that entire folder into your CC assets folder in Unreal, or in Unity rather, okay? So click and drag page export for Unity right in there. And that's basically all you need to do. And what this package does is this sets up all your material assignments. It sets up all your LODs. It creates an animation controller to animate your character. It does all this stuff right if you import your folder into this CC assets folder. So it saves you tons of time just by doing this, okay? It'll just take a couple seconds, and we'll be able to import our prefab. Oh, it also creates the prefab, by the way, for your character. Basically takes care of all that stuff. So it's really useful. Let me throw another cold winter night render in here. It shouldn't take up too much resources. All right, almost done. And then we can load up the Unreal project. And then we'll get to the Q&A. So we should be able to finish that in a few minutes. Not sure why I'm rendering that in the background. Might be taking additional resources. There's the cool winter render for IRay. Another thing you can do with IRay is you can go into your properties over here. Whoops, not this one, this one. And you can adjust like the filter. So you can choose like a different tone mapper. You can decrease the exposure like this, and it'll just kind of like live update. You can see, whoa, super low exposure there. Okay, but pretty creepy. Something like that. There's also templates you can use. Okay, so different kind of tones, all depending on the sort of effect you're going for. And yeah, it's taking a bit longer here. Looks like it went backwards. So if you're willing to wait for it, we'll just close this down. Taking up unnecessary resources. We should be able to import in our Unreal or Unity character in just no time. I'm going to load up Unreal while we're doing that. I'm doing this on my poor little laptop with a 1070 NVIDIA. It's probably breaking apart inside right now. All right, should be finished after this, hopefully. All right, there we go. All right, so then it opens this page export folder right here. Okay, so you go into that folder, and you'll find your prefab right here. You'll find the models, right here. You'll find your animator controller right here. That's the one I was talking about before, animator controller. And if you double click on the animator controller, you can see it's basically set up all of your motions, okay? So here's the LOD motion that I'm not gonna worry about. I wanna use this talk motion because I wanna show the facial animation as well, okay? And that's the animator controller. Let's just import in the prefab. double click the prefab and import it in here. I think we should be good. Okay, character's looking fine. One thing you may notice is with the eyes on the character, they're kind of black. And this is because if we select the eyes, there's an eye moisture one right here that kind of doesn't really belong in Unity. So you can just go ahead and change that shader to like, or you can probably just change the value to transparent. And that should hopefully do the trick there. Eye moisture one. Let's just try and zoom in here. Not sure why my controls aren't working. Oh, C mode, there we go. All right, so there's your character, the eyes. We need to modify the actual material, I think. Let me just pause that. You can also notice that on the hair there's a little bit of a weird kind of thing on the hair, like this. That's the scalp. Okay, so we need to do the same thing with the scalp. Just select the hair right here, like this. And this scalp, bob scalp, you can just set that to transparent. Let's go into here. That should work. Okay, so that one worked. The eye moisture one, I'm not sure. Let's go to this one, shader transparent. Yeah, it should be not showing this. I want to just remove that entire material there. There'll be some way in which we can adjust this anyways. I haven't been messing around with Unity too much for the special eye stuff. All right, we'll just work with that for now. I believe one of the other ones might be interfering with it as well. But yeah, you can see there's tons of different eye materials, and you can fool around with that. But that's how your character will look in Unity once you're imported. Once he or she is imported in. Okay, just like this. Go to our scene view here. You can see the facial morphs all in action. Okay, this is just and the hair. Okay, you can probably change the hair, the shading on the hair to two-sided. Like this. The bob, just change it from, there's a Syconia Studios. You can download this for free from the asset store. I'll show you that later if you want. There you go. Just change the hair to a standard bump and you'll get two-sided like that. All right. Cool. All right, let's go to the Unreal project here and load her up. And then we'll just throw the character in there in Unreal. I'll quickly show you the import settings in Unreal. I'm not going to actually import it, but I'll show you the character applied in Unreal, and then we'll get to the Q&A section. All right, so let's load in the project that we want here, the level that we have prepared. This LV Soul Cave, Louis Vuitton Soul Cave. And then we'll be done. And that's the whole shebang, the whole pipeline. Now, if you export from Character Creator and you want to import into Unreal, obviously when you go to export FBX, you want to change the preset to Unreal, okay, instead of Unity 3D. This will set the materials for Unreal. You can keep the poses in the same order there, and whatever motions you want to throw in there as well. Okay, I've already done that. Now, if you import in your character to Unreal without a T-pose, you can technically do that, but you want to, so here's the character. It's a different model that I exported. She had glasses and a little bandana there and a different shirt. And if we just play this back, you can see, there you go. Okay, so she's all set up. She just has a basic idle. Facial animation. This character over here on the left is just in different. This is a Victoria 4 character that I imported in from Poser. In the previous webinar we did with Renderosity users. Okay, so they're looking really bored here. So I just wanted to show you that. And, how the character is imported into Unreal. Oh, one more thing in the Unity project, I forgot to show you the level of detail. If you have your character, playing, and you just zoom out on the character, you can see from here to here, we're changing level of detail. And there's a little bit of an issue with the textures there, but you can fix that. So if we go over here to have our character selected, oops, just like this, you can see we have level of detail levels like this, okay, 2, 3, okay. So again, the distance from the camera will determine your level of detail. You do have to adjust the renderers here, the shaders a little bit. You have to add some onto this one here, okay? But we don't have time for that. That's a bit more detailed into the Unity stuff. But you can see the level of detail difference like that. Okay, so it automatically sets this up for you when you import in that entire folder, which is super cool. Okay, we're going to go ahead and answer the Q&A now, since we have a few questions in the Q&A panel already. All right, so let's do this. Any questions? Put them in the Q&A panel, guys. All right, so okay, so Sam mentions here sometimes when the hair is exported into Unreal Engine 4, it doesn't come out right, needs to be masked. Okay, so yeah, Unreal 4, like there's sometimes like certain types of hair will have a little bit of an issue. No, this character doesn't seem to have much of an issue as far as I can tell. It's just in here. So this particular hair, I think, imported in quite nicely. Okay, on our character, you can see it's transparent. We get, good strands opacity on the character's hair like this. Okay, so fairly detailed hair. I mean, for a character, we can just go to page here and we can go to her materials. This A-line bob material is right here. And just take a brief look at it. Okay, so this is automatically set up. I didn't do any of this stuff here. All right, so this is automatically imported now. So all of the it just gives you coordinates for the texture, okay, for UV tiling. And if you take a look at the actual material itself, blend mode is set to translucent, okay. Material domain is surface, default lighting. So I don't have much time to go into all of these settings here because I want to get to other questions, but generally if you mess around with these settings and you mess around with the opacity maps and bring them in, you should be normally good to go. And again, these texture coordinates, these are automatically added from the when you export using the Unreal preset. As far as I know, I haven't done enough exports of different types of characters to kind of know if that's truly consistent or not. Okay, so Q&A. There we go. Okay, so Sam also mentions older characters in Character Creator 3 with the age sliders. The character comes out looking rather odd and the wrinkles can't seem to get them working. So keep in mind that when you use the age sliders for the morphs in Character Creator 3, that's actually adjusting the mesh, okay? So if I took my character here and I went to morphs and I typed in like old, for example, look at the eyes here really close. Okay, so you can see the wrinkles, for example, it actually changes the entire face, the mesh. I mean, another way you can, it looks kind of disturbing. Another way you can obviously add more age to your character is using normal maps, okay, for the facial texture, but I can't really, I think, Sam, you probably have to give me a detailed example of what exactly the situation you're in, because every situation is different for different characters. So yeah, just give me a shout via email, and I can probably get to that easier. Applying scars, tattoos, and moles to your character. Again, it depends which kind of character. Again, we do have, for Character Creator 2 characters, they have substance materials Character Creator 3 characters don't yet support substance materials. So you'd have to actually go to, like, you select your character's face here, the skin on the head, for example, and you'd have to go to your base color map. You'd have to launch it in like Photoshop, okay, just like this. And then we could give her like a tattoo or something on her face. Let's make her like a gangster anime girl. I'll show you that really quick. Oh gosh. I think it's this one. Nope. Ah, screw it. I don't want to do that right now. All right, but anyways, you just go and basically edit the map and throw on whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to try and get to some other questions first here. Okay, Zachary asks, how do you deal with meshes poking through each other when using CC3 to UA4? So in terms of the yeah, you must have done this at the beginning. So yeah, in terms of meshes poking through, I showed you a couple methods. Again, for me, I'm lazy. The easiest one is just to increase the size. When you go to the Conform, increase the size of your item. Edit the mesh. Auto hide the mesh. You can hide certain parts of the mesh. Okay, so hopefully I answered that throughout the webinar there, Zachary. Any further questions, just feel free to add on to the Q&A section there. Don asks, do you do a save as when editing the page Daz model shoes? Not sure what exactly you mean there when editing. Save. Oh, maybe you meant the script. Yeah, you have to save the script that I modified there in order to have future feet not disappear while the shoes are applied. If it's something else, then let me know, Don, further in the Q&A section there. Oh, okay. Helene mentions, it's my understanding that Reallusion content can't be exported to games unless the export license is purchased for that content. If CC3 morph sliders or clothing are applied to the character, how can you tell export from non-export content? Okay, that's a good question, Helene. All of the embedded content with Character Creator 3 is export. You can export it, no problem. Okay. Now you do have to have the export license, or you have to have the pipeline version of 3D Exchange, which is basically just allows you to export anything into FBX or OBJ format. I'd highly recommend picking that up. The pipeline version. I mean, if you're going to be working in other software, do not hesitate to get the pipeline version. And I'll show you there's a version comparison you can check out here as well. Excuse me. That thing's annoying. All right. Where is it here? There should be an addition comparison somewhere. Might be for iClone. Yeah, it might be for iClone. Can't remember where it is. But yeah, basically, when you like buy iClone, yeah, make sure you get the character, 3D Exchange 7. Okay, so here's the Pro bundle right here. This one does not allow you to export. Okay, the pipeline version is the one that allows you to export. So definitely get this one. Okay, yeah, I believe that's. Oh, and for the morphs and stuff like that. So if you go to the content store, say for example, you find something that you like on the content store, like we go to 3D characters here and just go to morphs. Okay, so if you want to export these morphs, okay, so here's like Virtual Human Heads Volume 1. This is a new pack we just released here. So this one should have a iContent license and an export license. Okay. Yeah. So these ones here, it seems they only have. Okay. So let me just try and find a simple example here. One single item. Okay. So this one only has export license available. Now, so you click on it and it'll say add it to cart. So some items you'll see will have iContent and export. So the export cost will be a bit higher because you're able to export it from iClone. I think it's about 30% more or something like that. But if you find something with iContent only, let me try and find an example here before I move on. Gosh, this thing's annoying. Getting in the way. Okay, this one should be good, I believe. If not, then Dusks maybe. Okay, yeah, it seems like most of them just have export license now. There are, before a few ones that have iContent licenses as well. Yeah, it looks like all export license from now. Yeah, so we're focusing on the export license. Just trying to let's try this old school one here. This one should have it. Okay, here you go. iContent and export license. So iContent will allow you to use it within iClone only. Okay, export license will allow you to export into whatever software you want. Okay, so this is the example I'm talking about right here. Okay, so again, you can see a slight difference in price. All right, found it. Hopefully that answers your question there, Helene. Emmanuel has a question. When you export from Daz, you selected binary 2011, but there's a ton of options there. Even with the future version of Daz, we stick to binary 2011. Yes, currently we only support binary 2011 because we've been kind of playing catch up with compatibility, making Character Creator 3 compatible with all the different formats. So currently, until we say otherwise, it's going to be stuck with binary 2011 at this point. Okay, but we're hoping to obviously broaden our reach to other formats in the future there. Okay, Frank asks here, can I use the appearance editor to create materials from scratch for imported clothing? Good question, Frank. The appearance editor is embedded into Character Creator 3, and this allows you to modify your clothing using substance materials. But what you have to do first is you have to assign. So say, for example, I select this shirt here, and I go to the appearance editor, which is this tab up here. You can see it doesn't really have anything. Okay, so it's just a material right now. It's not a substance material. It's just a basic diffuse, bump, and specular map. Okay, so if we go to appearance editor, we can actually load in. We can go ahead and select substance material, and we can select a 3 material substance. We can select a 5 material substance. In this case, let's just select 3 material and then activate appearance editor. And what that's going to do, it's going to basically do what it says here. The current textures are going to be discarded, and the original textures will be retrieved rather. Let's go ahead and press yes to continue. So this is kind of a roundabout way. If you guys want to use substance materials instead of texture, traditional texture files, then this is the way to do it. You have to select your item and load the appearance editor. But first, you need to select a special, whatever material substance template. Okay. So here we can twirl this down. We can see all the substance stuff right here. Go to materials. There's basically going to just be a base material, I think. For this one, we can assign it. Gets into a lot of detail here. So we can use a generator. We can use leather. And how do we change that? Material type, we change it to a generator. So we can give her like a leather shirt. Okay, it's going to look weird, but wood. There's the wood shirt. Okay, generally you don't want to do that, but that's just an example. And you can also go to base and use a generator fabric. Okay, and then you can use denim and linen, lycra, nylon. Let's try denim. And then you can go into like all the different tweaks here and change the color. Okay, saturation, normal intensity, all that stuff, abrasions. Yeah, so you need a special map for the abrasions. That's not going to work, but you can do blemishes. This should, I believe, apply it to gashes at least should work. Yeah, you need some normal maps for this stuff. Specific maps, I believe. Not working too well here. Haven't done this in such a long time. Yeah, it's not working too well. All right, but you should be able to do that on a lot of other materials, but you need to have the specialized maps loaded in there, I believe. I don't have them loaded in, so yeah, it's going to take a while, so I'm just going to skip to something else. Let's go. Where's my Zoom panel here? Yeah, so that's how you load the substance materials anyways to there, Frank. Okay, so Michael Sanford asks, after the transformer action is done, is page 2 still a Daz character or a character creator character? Page 2, after the transformer is finished, will be a full character creator character. All right, so the bone rig and the texture maps, the UV and everything like that have been converted to character creator 3. So I think that's something I should emphasize for everyone in case you're not aware. Once you import your Daz character into character creator 3, all the UV maps will be changed. The bone rig will be modified to harmonize with the character creator 3 rig, okay? And then you can do a lot of other stuff as well after that, but that's the most important part there. John Blaylock asks, on cloth layer settings, I had a character I was importing that had a belt. In Daz, the belt goes through the loops naturally, but when I imported to CC3, the layering affected that looping. Is there any solution that you may be able to think of? Yeah, for the separate belt there, John, edit the mesh, I guess. That's your only option. You can see that the straps on this, for example, would be kind of similar to your belt, and you probably have to bring them out or bring them back in, and hopefully do a lot of a better job than I did with kind of bunching all this stuff together. But again, that's because I imported in that massive shirt before. I just kind of messed everything up. But yeah, hopefully that helps you there. Edit the mesh is the only thing I can really tell you without going into more detail. Ferris Rivers asks, for skin weights, what would coveralls fall under to transfer? Would it still be shirt, pants default? Good question. For overalls like this, you can consider using the full body one for skin weights. What I'm talking about here is this one right here, the dress. You can try using the dress. Okay. I think if it goes down to the knees, generally you want to use the dress one. Okay, or any lower than that, use the dress one. The other can be used for like full body outfits, like I don't know, spandex, like gimp suit or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but like a scuba suit or something, you'd probably want to use other. But always try default first is my rule of thumb. If that doesn't work, you can try other. Otherwise, you may have to do it manually, which is always lots of fun. Transferring skin weights is almost as fun as editing the mesh. I'm being really sarcastic there in case you guys are not aware of that. Okay, so Frank asks, can I make the braids of the hair dynamic? Yeah, you can do that. If you apply physics to your hair, the braids that I had previously, you can make them flop around in the wind or as she moves her hair and stuff like that. That's weight mapping, and that's part of iClone. Since we don't do the animation in Character Creator, we only do it in iClone there. Okay, and that's a whole nother can of worms I'm not going to open right now. You can always email me later, and I can give you more examples of that. Okay, so Alex asks, how can I fix the feet angle when importing Daz characters with high heels, for example? This one is, oh gosh, there's a tutorial on it, but gosh, I can't forget which one it is. And I haven't done this in ages. Oh man, it's been a while. There is a tutorial on that for sure. in, I think it's in the Learning Center, probably. Or you can try the online manual. Let's try our luck here. Okay, so it might be one of these. Yeah, so it's this one right here. So generally what you want to do is try and get the positioning like this. And then you select them as shoes. And you have to put your character in the T-pose. And then there's a high heels button right here. Okay, so in the help file, you can find this. It modifies it to high heels. And this is the, ooh, look at that. This is the workflow that you want to go through. We got our sexy android there with the white high heels. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. All right, but yeah, that's the process you want to go through there, Alex, for the high heels thing. All right, yeah, just go to the help file, type in high heels. Okay, Frank asks, can I save the clothing out separately so I can apply it to standard CC3 characters? Yep, that's basically what I did. I saved the OBJ file as a shirt, or I saved the shirt as a shirt file. The OBJ file as a shirt, I guess, and then you can apply it to any other characters. Like if I bring in another character, I can just, you know, throw that onto my character as well. Let's try to throw in one of these beautiful looking characters. One of the elite characters, so to speak. Gloria. I'll give Gloria the shirt. I'll just go on to the next question while that's loading up. John asks, when you're saving the characters and clothing, where are you storing those? Yeah, saved to your custom folder. Okay, so where I saved it was what the heck? Let's just start a new project here. I think I just applied the morphs instead. Yes, indeed, I did. All right, so this is kind of messed up already. But I'll show you where I saved that shirt to just one more time really quickly once this finishes loading. I can probably close one of these down here. Okay, so the shirt I saved cloth, okay, up here, shirts right over here, and then the custom tab and right here. So I can just apply this to my character like that. Okay. I was going to try and use a better character. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's bring Gloria in there. Oh, probably want to use the texture or the project template for that. All right, so you can see it fits on Gloria too. She's a bit more filled out, I guess you can say. And there you go. So you probably want to just maybe reconform that shirt to your character with it selected. I got this silly little Zoom webinar window in the way. There you go. Calculate collision one more time and it'll get rid of most of those issues. Okay. Mr. Anonymous says, what is the process for exporting from Marvelous Designer clothing and importing it into CC3? Which MD file format should be used when exporting? As far as I know, it's I don't really know much about Marvelous Designer. I've used it like in very short-term training. But as far as I know, you just export the OBJ and import it just like I showed you there. So you'll export your character as your model into Marvelous Designer, and then you'll just kind of model the clothing onto your character using Marvelous Designer there. All right. FBX also works as well. Okay, so another anonymous attendee says, does the CC3 have a simple mechanism to modify skin tone for the entire character? Yep. If your character is not a substance character, it's a bit different. So if it's a CC3 character temporarily, I mean, the only way to do it really is to select your material right here. Let's select our character, skin head, shift, select all the skin on the character's body, basically. Not the nails and the eyelashes, though. And with the base color selected, you just go over here to base color map has to be selected here. Go over to adjust color, and this may not look the best, but brightness can be taken down a little bit, just like this. I'll just take a second to process it since this is a 4K texture that we're doing this to. Okay, so that's how you would do it right there. Make her a bit darker. And you can change the hue and saturation, whatever, to whatever color you want. Okay, that's how you do it with regular characters. And with earlier version characters, you go to the appearance editor, and you would just activate the appearance editor right here for your characters. But unfortunately, these most recent characters don't have the substance support. Okay. Okay. Frank says, can you export the elite characters without CC3? Technically, you could, yeah, using iClone and 3D Exchange. Okay, so that's the other way to do it. Another question from Frank: when importing a Daz character with texture using the advanced mode, can I save the skin texture by itself in CC3 so I can apply it to CC3 characters? Yeah, you can save your skin texture. Okay, so basically the same process as the other stuff. Like, select your character's skin, go over here to skin, and go to custom, and just save it here. I just press plus here. Let's make sure my character is selected. There we go. And we'll call her Darker Gloria. All right, so if we load it in like page project, we can apply that custom skin texture to page as well. All right, so just like this. All right, there we go. Make sure she's selected, Darker Gloria. And we'll change Paige's ethnicity as well. And she'll also have 4K textures here, right? So there you go. Pretty cool. All right, so that's how you copy and, or rather save and apply different skin color templates. Don asks, could you explain how the face anim profile works? Don, maybe just email me separately for that one. It's a little bit complicated. That's about animation. I don't really want to deal with too much animation stuff in this webinar, so it'll probably be for a separate topic. Maybe just email me on that one. Yeah, Sam says, I should check out Stardock Fences to organize my desktop icons. Yeah, this is this awesome, fantastic, messy desktop. Apologies for that, guys. Like looking into my messy room or something like that. Yeah, I'll look into that. Thanks, Sam. Let's get to the next one here. Put this so you don't have to see my messy desktop. All right. Yeah, John says, go through the Unreal 4 process. Yeah, I think the Unreal 4 process, oh, I just closed down Unreal 4. Did I show how to import it? I'm not sure. Let's load up Unreal anyways real quick, just because yeah, I think I was supposed to show you the import settings for the Unreal Engine. I don't think I did. So I'll get to that in just a sec here, John, when that loads up. Sam asks, is there going to be something easier to import to UE4 like with Unity? I hope so. I'm not sure if that's in the works, but if we have enough demand for it, make your voices heard on the forums and just say, hey guys, we just need this Unreal Engine 4 thing pronto. And I think our developers are always, scouring the forums and getting feedback. So I think, yeah, we'll get a lot of people interested in it. But I can't give you a specific timeline for now there, unfortunately. Okay, so Mick asks a good question. Mick Span. Does the export also take the facial animations and lip sync? Yes, it does. So all the facial morphs and the lip sync and everything like that will be exported along with the FBX, right? That answers your question there. Since I showed the female character there talking in Unity. Anonymous attendee asks, are the Genesis 8 JCM supported? If not, can they be applied via the upcoming Python API? I'm not totally sure at this moment. I'd have to ask the development team on that. I've never worked with those myself. So yeah, you probably have to email me and I can email the development team and ask them about it. I'm not sure who you are, anonymous attendee, but okay. So Subdiacon asks the best method for CC3 hair. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it really depends from character to character. But generally it's masked and you need to have an opacity map. That tends to be the best way, and make sure that you have double-sided shading on. Just load this up first here. Double-sided shading needs to be activated for sure. The transparent one works with that last, the A-line bob, whatever it's called, that I showed you earlier. Okay, you can use the transparency for that. We talk about that more in the Unreal tutorial import series. So I recommend checking that out as well. So Mick asks, how would the talk sound come over? So unfortunately, FBX files don't contain audio. So you would need to manually apply that within Unity and Unreal. I know how to do it in Unreal and Unity, but I don't have an example for you. I don't have an audio file handy. But that is something that you do have to apply manually in your game engine there, Mick. Okay. Yeah, I'll just go through that here. Where can I get the skull cap for sculpting CC3 hair? Subdiacon asks. You can just export the texture file. It should be part of every CC3 character standard here. If you go to the materials here, there should be a skin head. Some characters will have like different hair will have like a skull cap thing. I don't think this one does. Nope. Nope. But some of them will have like a separate material for that, and you can just export that material. Like this one for the head, for example. Oops. Over here, what are you doing? Oh. Why can't I? Weird. Oh, I think it's because we have, there we go. All right. The skin, head. Oh, no, if you go to skin head down here, there's this one. It doesn't have a specific skull cap, so. Yeah, generally character creator characters won't have that skull cap thing, unfortunately. Okay, okay, back to the Unreal import thing here. I want to show you that real quick. Okay, so when you import an FBX into Unreal, let's just page final, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Import this, let's go to the page folder. Or, yeah, so it doesn't really matter. Just click and drag it into whatever folder you want, like this. Okay, so in this case, the page folder, and it should come up with the import settings in just a moment here. To answer Mick's question, oh gosh, the same name as the thing I already have in there. Let's copy one. There, that shouldn't re-import. While I'm waiting for that to load, I can answer Mick's question really quick. You're asking to go over the custom head scan with lip sync import pipeline. That'll take a lot longer, Mick, than we have here. So unfortunately, I can't do that right now. But again, you can email me and I'll be able to give you information. We have tutorials on that and stuff. Always check out the Learning Center as well, guys. We have tons of stuff in the Learning Center. Okay, so importing your character into Unreal. Skeleton mesh, yes. Import mesh, yes. Yes, geometry and skinning weights. For the skeleton, you can generate your own skeleton, or you can select whatever skeleton you want. if I want to apply if I want to give my character a UE4 skeleton, so it's compatible with all the UE4 motions, then I can select UE4 mannequin skeleton right here, okay? And that'll be compatible with all the general first-person shooter, or rather third-person, whatever motions that your character has, okay? You use time0 as a reference pose. You only want to do this if your first frame is a T pose, okay? If not, deselect this, okay? Import morph targets, yes. Import meshes. Import mesh level of details. If you have a level of details, yes. Okay, and everything else. Import animations. Generally, you want to choose exported time. Okay. Again, in some cases, it'll be animated time, but you can always modify that later. And all the other settings should be pretty standard as far as I know. Material, yeah, definitely search for local materials, and that should be it, okay? The most important one is the skeleton. Like I mentioned, you can choose your own skeleton, or you can apply it to the UE4 mannequin skeleton. And you want to make sure you do not use a time0 as reference pose if you're not importing a T pose, okay? All right, I think that should cover it. Okay, I got a lot of questions here. Okay, so that hopefully answered the questionnaire manual about the importing. Can you, Eric Woodbury asks, can you apply custom tiled textures to certain portions of a character in Character Creator 3 with a defined set of vertices? So what you need to do with, what you need for this, Eric, is you need a color ID map. Okay, so you can do this for sure, but you need a color ID map. And it's only, as far as I know, you can only do this with substance materials, so it's not applicable to CC3 characters, okay? So earlier version characters, you can, they have color ID maps where you can apply different textures to different portions. Let me try and find an example here. The clothing, or coats here, maybe. Something like this field jacket here. Throw something on, she looks a little cold. This field jacket is from our professional outfits pack on the content store, and it should contain different substances. Okay, so appearance editor, you can see here, activate appearance editor. So when we activate the appearance editor for this one, just ignore the poking through of the little frog frog on the jumpsuit there for now. So when we load the appearance editor, we're going to get field jacket item right here. We're going to get a bunch of input maps. Okay, input maps. In diagnostic here, you can go to RGB mask. Okay, so what this does is, so these are the masks you need in order to apply those other things I was trying before. If you select enable, so this basically is an RGB mask, and it shows you where you can apply different textures to different parts. So all this black area here, this is fabric, base fabric 1. Anything in yellow is going to be fabric 5 right here. Okay. Anything blue is going to be fabric 3 right here. So you can go into here, you can modify all these separately. So say, for example, for blue, I wanted to load in a separate diffuse map. I don't even know if I have any images here. Let's just see if we have any stupid pictures. Nope. Oh, hey, we have a picture of me eating hot pot. Let's do that. Okay. I don't have any images on this computer yet. But if we do that and then we take out the, disable the input maps, yeah, it's not mapped properly, so it's going to be like kind of weird. Not sure exactly where it applied. Crap, where did it apply to the yellow part? Oh, blue. So you have to choose input rather instead of cotton. Material needs to be input, and there you go. So there you see my the picture of me. Although it's really obviously very, very scaled, if we take the scaling down, I don't know what we'd have to do here. Again, sometimes the scaling can be a little bit weird. So obviously it's not an ideal example, but there you go. Okay, there's a saturation. So you can actually kind of see the saturation. And you can see it's kind of tiled there. Obviously not an ideal. It's a really low resolution image, but you can do something like, let's see if I have in my other drive, if I have anything. Not really. Not really. All right, I wish I had more images to show you guys, but you get the point. All right, so that's how you can modify different parts. If I didn't want to use the input map, I could just choose like leather, for example, as well, and give it a leather. So if I did that, if I chose the leather material, then I can modify the leather material down here as well, and add patterns and stuff like that. Plaid opacity there. Plaid opacity, that's the one I was talking about. And you go down here to plaid, and you can rotate the stripes. Yeah, this is all substance stuff, all right? So unfortunately, all this stuff I'm showing you, you can't really do with the current CC3, okay? Just the stripes, thickness of the stripes, you know, whatever, okay? Become your own fashion designer, hooray. All right, but that's the answers to your question there. I'm just gonna back to who that was. Eric Woodbury. Okay, so Powell mentions the eyes. Yeah, the Unity eye issue. I think it's mostly to do with the eye moisture texture there, the material. I think if you just delete that one, and again, I closed down Unity, now I'm in Unreal. So in Unreal, we also have that same issue in Unreal actually. So the eye moisture will, if we go over here, you can kind of see the eyes. They're green, right? I'd have to remove the glasses here, which I'm not able to do at the moment. But if we take a look at our character, like right here, we zoom in on her. Oops. Let's try and get a look at the eyes there behind the glasses. Ooh. Okay, so they're still dark here. Let's see if I can select those glasses and just delete them. Oh, I can't seem to select them here. Let's try and find the eyes anyways. So eye moisture. Okay, so you can see the eye moisture right here on the level of detail 0. All I did for this one is I just I set the eye moisture to translucent blend mode here. Okay, and once you do that, you're allowed to pump in an opacity value. And I just basically added in a, because you can see here the parameter is just a black parameter. Okay, you can probably just even delete that and it'll be the same. What I did is I just, you right click and just enter in a constant value, constant right there. And then you can just type in a value like 0 or whatever you want and just put it into there. So the eye moisture has no opacity. Okay. And then that should have fixed it, I believe. And let's see. Yeah, and same for the glasses too. For the glasses, lens is what I want to look for. Lens. Okay, so the lenses, this material here, very similar option. Okay, so this time the opacity, I just changed the opacity to 0.5. Okay, basically the same thing. Surface translucent and opacity set to 0.5. All right, so I think that should solve the issue. If not, just there's 4 different eye textures. Oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, Character Creator 3 has those special eyes. So this is something I really want to show you guys. That's very, very, very relevant to this webinar. Okay, so if I select my character's eyes, go to the materials here, you can see that we have pupils. eye moisture, cornea, irises, sclera. We don't need all that stuff, okay, when we export into Unreal or Unity. So the way to fix that is to use those RTL eyes, and those can be found in that Elite Characters pack I mentioned, okay? So go over here to, what's it called, base? Yeah, base, okay? And eyes and the CC3 RTL, okay? So these are the, or sorry, not these ones here, sorry, the video game eyes. Game eyes, 1UV. These come with the pipeline version of Character Creator 3. Okay, so just select 1UV, game eyes 1UV, just like this. And once you replace those eyes, then boom, you just have the one eye just like this. Okay, and then when you export that eye into Unreal or Unity, it's not going to have that black eye effect. Okay. But again, that black eye effect can also be resolved by deleting all the other materials and just leaving the one, I believe. Okay, but the easier way to do it is just use this game eye, and then you just modify your eye, you know, custom shades and all that stuff, like change your base color to whatever you want, purple eyes or something like that. But of course, you do need to make sure that the white parts remain remain white, so you'd have to mask that out, yeah, or edit it in Photoshop. All right, so yeah, hopefully that answers that question about some frustrations you may have had with the eyes in exporting. All right, bang bang boom. Still got some more questions. So John asks, is there a timetable on when we'll have substance materials for CC3? I can't really comment on that, unfortunately, John, right now, but it's something that's being it's highly desired, so that's probably on our priority list. But I can't really give you a specific answer on that, unfortunately. I think in the new year for sure. Okay, so Steve asks, when we download that script from the YouTube tutorial, do we simply copy it into the Unity asset folder, then add the character exported? So Steve, there's a tutorial that shows you how to do that. What you need to do is you need to right-click and import the asset. Okay, don't click and drag it. Don't click and drag that package into your Unity project. Okay, you need to right-click in your asset folder and import the asset that way. Let's close down Unreal for now. Okay, so hopefully I answered Pal's question there about the high heels. So let's skip ahead a couple ones. Okay, so Moyo Soldrek. Sorry, I can't pronounce the name there. Unreal and Unity are both different video game engines. And I mean, there's benefits to both of them. I'm more experienced with Unreal, but Unity tends to be faster in some ways. However, you know, each have their own benefits and drawbacks. So I can't really recommend one or the other, but I have more experience in Unreal myself. I think Unity is a bit better for 2D games, from what I've heard from other people. Dar asks, how do I stop a character export from overwriting existing characters? Just name it something different. I guess Dar would be the easiest solution to that problem. Always save your projects, okay? Always save your CC3 projects, because you never know when you're going to need to load that one up again, or something else fails, or you accidentally deleted a project, okay? So to answer Steve's question there earlier, you just want to go into your regular assets folder, right-click, and import new asset. Okay, and then you want to find that asset that I showed you earlier there. I don't have it saved on my computer, I don't believe. Maybe in a different folder. I think it may be gone. Yeah, it's gone. Anyways, that's how you want to import it, Steve. Just right click and import new asset. Okay, make sure you use that method. Okay, and you can find that again in the Unity tutorial I showed you guys earlier. Okay. Frank asks, when importing a Daz character, can I save out individual morphs into the CC3 morph slider section? Yes, you can. To save morphs, we have a tutorial on creating morphs. Okay, I'll show it to you real quick here. Morphs. Maybe this one will work. It's, I think, yeah, baking and editing sliders, this one right here. Right? This is actually from Character Creator 1. So, but basically the process is the same. This tutorial is a little bit longer, but this is how you can import your morphs and bake them. And bake them. Shake and bake. All right. So just follow that tutorial there, Frank, for creating custom sliders. All right. Okay, so Helene mentions here, I have some content that is I content, some that is export. The products don't usually list exactly what the morphs are included. Okay, so the easiest way to tell, Helene, if something is export or not export, is if you try and export it, you'll have an issue. It'll say, it should come up with a notification notifying you exactly which item you need to purchase in order to export. Okay, that's just the easiest way to tell. So try and export from Character Creator or export from 3D Exchange, and it'll mention to you specifically. It'll say the export license is missing from this particular item or this particular mesh. Okay. Okay, got a few more questions left here. So Peter Podesser asks, Genesis M4 V4 characters are supported for import into CC3. What about earlier versions like M3 V3, ICO, etc.? The best way to find out which ones are supported is to go to the Daz resource folder right here and go to T-pose, and these are the ones that are supported. So G3 male, G2, okay, all these ones with T-poses, these are supported. We have Hivewire T-pose and G8, Michael T, V, V4, M4, V4, Genesis 1, Genesis 3. These are the ones that are supported. We may add more in the future, but I think that covers most of the relevant Daz characters. Okay, so Mohammed asks, what's the best way to use CC1 morph sliders on a CC3 character without affecting the hands, eyes, teeth, and other areas? I currently use an inverse slider I created that has the opposite effect, but it doesn't always work well. Oh, a CC1 morph slider on a CC3 character. Yeah, since the mesh is like very different from between those two types of characters, I believe there is one option that you have to update the sliders. It should prompt you to update the sliders. When you first load up Character Creator 3, it should prompt you if you want to update the sliders, I believe. Now, if that doesn't happen, maybe contact our customer service about it, because I believe it's something that we automatically had when we first started Character Creator 3. It should prompt you to update the sliders automatically. If not, again, maybe it could be a bug of some kind. Try and contact customer service would be my suggestion there. Sorry, I can't answer your question much more than that, Mohammed. Sam asks a good question here. Can hair be flipped, like the part from left to right? Character Creator 3 doesn't have that capability, but any modeling software would have it really easily. We can flip selections, ooh, my headphone went out there. We can flip selected vertexes and stuff like that, or mesh editing, but we can't flip. There's no actual like horizontal flip like there is in Photoshop, but a lot of other modeling software does. Unfortunately, in terms of the modeling, we're still a little bit behind other software, obviously, like ZBrush and Mudbox and whatnot. Okay. Pal's asking about a tutorial. Pal, just email me. I'm not sure which tutorial you're talking about there. Again, email me. My email is kai@reallusion.com, kai@reallusion.com. Okay. So Dar says, I created a character based on the default, named it, and then exported it to iClone in the scene. It overwrote the character. So Dar, what you need to do is you need to save your character as a custom character and change the name. All right. So with the character here, I can just double click in my scene manager here. Okay. And save it as CC base. So I can call it CC super base. Okay. So just make sure that you name your character a unique name. Okay. Everyone keep this in mind. When you save your character, the mesh name is still going to be the same. So when you import characters with identical mesh names, they're just going to create a copy of the same one. So it's going to be like super base with a 0 in parentheses there. Anonymous attendee says, can I export characters to Unity or Unreal if I only have 3D Exchange 6? You can export to FBX if you have 3D Exchange 6 pipeline. And then you can import that into Unity and Unreal. Over the import process is going to be a lot different. Someone asks, can CC3 support dual quaternion skinning from Daz models? Currently not at the moment, but I think that's something that we can consider in the future. Again, the development team has really just started this this transformer tool, so we're working, desperately to improve it as much as we can in the shortest amount of time possible. So any features that you'd like to be added onto that, definitely put in our forums, because we always check the forums for there's wishful features. There's a wishful feature section in the forum, and just throw your stuff in there. And the more upvotes or the more comments you get, the more likely we'll include that in the next patch. So one question here from another anonymous attendee. How different is the skin quality for CC Essential Morphs and Elite Character skin? So CC Essential Morphs is an older pack. Again, that's using the substance skin. Okay, so you can apply substance skin to your character as well. However, the Elite Character skin is 4K. It's a very, very high resolution skin. If you want to use your character for, if you want your character to have close-ups of the skin, you obviously want it to look the best. So you obviously want to go for the 4K Elite Character skin. And those other packs I showed you before as well, like the 3D scan packs. Very useful and highly recommended to pick those up. Whether or not you're using them for IRay rendering or even just bringing it to your game engine, the highly detailed mesh is, or highly detailed skin texture is, it's a game changer. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, so Mick asks, can you compare 3D Exchange to Pipeline? Okay, so in case anyone's not aware, 3D Exchange is simply just a conversion software. So 3D Exchange, all it does is it converts software from one format, or software models rather, from one format to another. Okay, so the Pipeline version will convert all of your I content into FBX, OBJ, whatever, and will also import in FBX into I content format. Pipeline, we've included some of the conversion features in Pipeline. However, it's not as comprehensive as 3D Exchange for conversion. But I think the plan is in the future to kind of integrate those together. Yeah, we'll probably have a more unified solution in the future. Character Creator Pipeline. What Character Creator Pipeline does is there's a features comparison, I believe. Should have one. Let me use an overview here at the bottom. Oh man. Pipeline will allow you to import the Daz characters for sure. Okay, that's one thing with the pipeline. Daz Imposer characters, regular 3D Exchange, a regular character creator will not do this. Another thing you can do with the CC3 pipeline is you can use LOD, so level of detail, like I showed you earlier. You cannot do that with the regular character creator 3, the free version. And those are the two main ones that I can think of right now. I mean, to me, CC3 pipeline is a no-brainer. I think it's like a couple, like 199 or something like that. And even for the LOD tool within it, it's super useful. Let's just, oops, this. Yeah, so the content or the features will be all on here. Let's see. Let's move this stupid thing out of the way. Yeah, and publish to Sketchfab. CC3 pipeline has a direct button to publish to Sketchfab as well. Okay. And that's it. Oh, and it also has the ability to convert your character to a game-ready character. So right up here, convert to game base, right? This is something that allows you to convert your character to a game base, which basically simplifies the mesh. Okay, so this is a good feature of the pipeline. If I, whoops, show you my character's facial mesh right here, and I convert to a game base, like we can choose a single material, let's just do 2048, whatever. Okay, it'll basically retopologize your character and simplify the skin mesh and everything like that. And this is a feature that's available only with Character Creator 3 pipeline. It'll just take a few minutes, but yeah, basically what it'll do is kind of reduce the select triangles quite significantly. I think it's 168 right now, 168,000 faces, and that should go down significantly. And your character's mesh and materials will be simplified and unified into one single material. So this is like, what you really want for a lower resource character that you import into a game engine here. There you go. Should be 2 shakes of a lamb's tail there. And I think that's all the questions that we got for today. So we're, a 2-hour webinar. But thanks so much for attending, guys. Just make sure you can see that before I leave here. Okay, so you can see it's a more simplified mesh on the body. Let's just take that coat and take it off there. Okay, so the body now is very simplified. If I select the character, 145,000 as opposed to 166. Okay, so decently simplified. You can take it down even further if you want by using the level of detail over here, InstaLOD. Okay, polygon reduction, remesher. These are all things for another time. All right, but I think we're going to just end it off there, guys. Thanks for sticking with me for a couple hours there. This is probably the record-breaking webinar, the longest webinar we've had. Yeah, so make sure you fill out the survey as well. Get 10% discount from the content store. And I think that's about all she wrote. So thanks again, everyone, for attending. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And hopefully I'll see you in the next webinar.